You know how much I love words. As we get close to the end of the year, what is your word, perhaps, for next year? Have you thought about it yet? I always think in terms of when I go to all these networking events and I listen to other people's infomercials, what they're sharing, what they're selling, what their services are, what their products are. I hear them talk about gift giving, and I hear them talk about things they possibly need to do before the end of the year. I'm Kathy Weaver, and I'm part of the fan club for the amazing Delinda Lane and the fun, fearless female global community of Christian women. And today is Words of Wisdom Wednesday. I love being able to share each week because, as I have told you before, when people have ideas, thoughts that pop into their heads and they share them with me, I love to share them with you because a lot of times for me, they have been very impactful, forward thinking, futuristic, things like that. So what I'd like to talk about today, besides picking your word for the next year, what about contingency and succession? Contingency and succession. Now, we're not going to pick two words, no, but for me, they are very similar as far as the necessity for pre-planning. And pre-planning doesn't necessarily mean burial pre-planning. It could mean exit strategy for your company. It could mean who's going to watch your dogs and cats while you're on a vacation trip. It could mean who's going to substitute for you at your networking event. It could mean who's going to represent you at your Chamber of Commerce meeting. Contingency plan, succession plan. I have always felt over the years, and again, networking full-time for 15 years now has been kind of amazing, but I have always thought in terms of solopreneurs pretty much do it all. Who is going to, quote, represent you if you can't make it? Who's going to do your presentation if you can't be there? I don't know. Do you have a plan? I remember one time I was going to do this great big auction. It was going to be so fun. We had practiced and rehearsed different things that we were going to do during the event, different scriptings, just the whole thing was just beautifully orchestrated. And that morning, I woke up with zero voice. Didn't do anything the day before, wasn't sick, didn't feel badly, just no voice, not going to happen. And I always feel that that's God's little joke. And my kids always feel it's God's little blessing. She can't talk. Whoa! And so I thought, what are you going to do? You're the MC for this ginormous event. Who are you going to call? Well, the good news is in my network is a superstar who works the room, runs the room. She's just a dynamo. She really is. She's fantastic. And I sent her a private message because remember, I couldn't talk. And I said, SOS, is there any possible way you're available tonight? Sorry for the last minute notice, but I literally lost my voice. Now, the cool thing is professionals are usually, if their schedule permits, professionals are usually, the answer is yes, no matter what the topic is, and they'll worry about the scripting and the run the room stuff later. Because quite frankly, if you run a networking event, if you run a Chamber of Commerce, if you run MC for a gig of some kind, it's kind of a similar thing. And the wording may be different and the organization may have a different name. But for me, the answer is just always yes, if my schedule permits. And that's exactly what this girl did. I went to the event. Again, I didn't feel badly. I just couldn't talk. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And like I say, the answer was yes. What do I do? Where do you need me to go? Et cetera, et cetera. So when she saw me there, she goes, and I said, and she went, aha. And obviously with this large of a room, I definitely needed to have a voice that was not weak and timid and horsey. It was demonstrative. So anyway, she took over. So she was my contingency plan. So do you have contingencies in place if something happens that you can't make it to a something or fix a this or do a gig for your group or organization? You can't have a training call. What would happen if you had your training recorded on your YouTube channel? I know I talk about YouTube a lot, but I'm telling you what, there are so many options that aren't being used effectively yet in YouTube. You can make a video unlisted, you can make it private, and you can make it public. What's the difference? Look it up on YouTube. It's pretty cool. You can edit that, change the privacy setting anytime you want. Pretty cool. So I just wanted to share, if you can't make your something tomorrow or the next day or next month or next year or whatever that looks like, do you have something in place? If you can't do your training call for your team tomorrow night, do you have something in place? If you can't this and you can't that, or you wake up with no voice, do you have someone you can call to take over? And it really has been, for me, a very big part of my network, because I look at my phone and my contact list and my LinkedIn and Facebook connections, and I'm just telling you what, I'm blessed like a million times over for the incredible people I can call, because I need you to, they go, what time? I need you to that. Where do I go? And they don't even ask questions. That to me is a network of incredible people. So please plan for your succession, which means if you step down from your leadership role in your organization, your team, your company, whatever that looks like, are you grooming the next person or persons to take over that leadership role? Why would I do that? Because please, you didn't work this hard and this long to build a team, an organization, a chamber of commerce, or whatever you've got going on. And then when you leave, it falls apart. That's not what leaders do. They make sure that everything keeps pedaling along. Just because they leave the helm role, it doesn't fall apart. I read a book recently to that order, and we'll talk later if you want to have a one-on-one with me about it, because it's the coolest book ever. And this gentleman created his succession plan. The good news is he did it before he passed away. The gooder news is he was still available for consultation in case anybody needed him during the transition of the succession plan. Contingency, you bet. So please think, it's not in terms of a death topic, it's in terms of you don't want to leave your group, organization, even your household. Just leave it for whatever reason, and the people who are left behind are clueless as to what either you want done or even you need done. So please, let's consider these words: succession, contingency. Succession, contingency. And then, of course, that takes me to one of my favorite questions in the world. Who are the 5 people in your life that lift you up? Some people say, who are the 5 people in your life that you hang out with the most? Because that kind of gives you a clue what you're like. Well, that's fine. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's lifelong friends. All of that is great. But for me, I don't want to stagnate ever. And so who are the 5 people you surround yourself with that lift you up, which means pull you, stretch you? Those might be the people that could be on your succession team, on your leadership plan, on your contingency call list. Okay? Let's just think about that for a while as we end the end of the year, get closer and closer to a new year starting. What does that look like? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because I don't have all of my ducks in a row for several of my organizations. And I would like to know how you decide who steps up if you're not available. And I would totally love to know that. So feel free to put it in the comment section of this particular post on Fun, Fearless Female Global Community of Christian Women with Delinda Lane, because you know I am one of her biggest fans. Thank you, my friends, and thank you for watching Words of Wisdom Wednesday. Bye for now.